said all I wanted was a homeland. I wanted a place for my family. I wanted a place where I could be free and safe.
Okay,
that was the motivation of Moshe.
So her Israeli characters are all anti-Israel butchers who acknowledge what they've done is horrible, 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 but because she's written a screed. My Palestinian characters are supporters of the two-state solution. My Palestinian characters are ones who want to bring about peace. Even the terrorist, in whose mouth I put the case against Israel's right to exist, makes that case articulately. Two cases, actually. I had two characters. One, a Marxist from the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, who makes the kind of anti-colonial claims against Israel, and the other, an Islamic extremist who believes that perspective. I tried very hard to present characters. What she presents and what she's presenting here today are stick figure, totally fake presentations of Israelis. For her, it's a one-sided conflict. For her, there is no truth on the side of Israel. For her, there was no Holocaust. For her, there was no Hajj al-Husseini. For her, there was no Yasser Arafat. For her, oh, shut up. For her, there were no rockets from Gaza. To her, there were no Park Hotel. For her, there were no terrorist attacks. For her, this is all...
Why don't you tell us what you feel? Forget about what's her.
You don't want to listen. My suggestion to Susan is what my son's suggestion was. Buy a billboard, write a screed.
We have the chance here.
I told you, you don't, hey buddy, you don't like my answer, but I gave you an answer. All right. I told you,
we have time for one more question. And whether or not people think that the answers are right, wrong, germane, or not, we learned something about the people who are giving them.
Look, there was real hope.
One more
might have been able to come together here today, but that hope was dashed by the call for boycotts and divestment, by turning a literary event into a crass political event, and the fault for that lies 100% on her side. 100%. I presented a balanced literary presentation, and she responded with a call for boycotts and divestment. Shame on you.
Good for you.
You know, when in my opening statements, in fact, I was not calling. I was telling you of all the people in the world, the churches and the organizations who have heeded that call to boycott Israel. And the moral authority that is behind that, and the people, these are not bigots, these are not crazy people. No, these in fact
anybody
are
who calls
people
for
of
a
conscience.
boycott or divestment against Israel and doesn't say a word about Darfur or Rwanda is a bigot.
And when you say something he disagrees with, he calls you a name. And this is, I find that unseemly and really unbecoming of a Harvard professor, frankly.
How Harvard professors should conduct their lives.
Okay. I'm allowed to have an opinion.
So,
and I've told her novelists should write novels.
if we
I
thought...
actually have read your novel. I don't think you've read mine. And in fact, I think that your depiction of Arabs is quite cartoonish. And I was really quite shocked by how little understanding you have of not just Palestinian society, but of the situation on the ground and the realities on the ground. The fact that, for example, a van cannot drive from Jerusalem to Jericho unimpeded. It's, you know, I mean, there are so many holes and that really betray your lack of knowledge of what's happening on the ground.
Of course the van can drive. Of course the van can drive from Jerusalem to Jericho.
And I found it
I've done
very
it.
cynical.
We've done it.
All right, so this is
I
a
find it very
okay.
cynical. I just want to say, I find it very cynical that he used, that he named his main terrorists in this novel by the name of Faisal Husseini, which is one
so
of Palestine's most beloved sons. And you know, that in itself I find to be extremely
Okay, we
purposely
understand.
named my terrorist Husseini to remind everybody that the leader of the Palestinian people during the Second World War was a Nazi. Yes, I purposely made that point. And that his picture with Hitler adorned the homes of many Palestinian families. I didn't make that up. I got that from Edward Said.
So, my friends, we are out of time, and the idea of confining a discussion to a novel and a novelistic and literary context, for sure, is at least as hard as a cheating piece.
Well, I did.
And so those of you,
My conversation was completely about the novel.
we've learned what the authors wanted to say about their novels, about the others, to some extent about each other. And I want to thank people for coming. There will be a book signing for 15 minutes on each side. Is this correct? And Susan, your books will be signed over here. Is this correct? Alan, yours over here. Thank you much. Thank you for the audience. And